As COVID cases surge, we are hearing story after story of families separated from their loved ones as they battle COVID in isolation. And now there's a push to change that. Hundreds of people have signed a petition that started right here on the First Coast, calling on Governor Ron DeSantis to change policies that deny families access to their loved ones hospitalized with COVID. Mitch Arbelize is grateful for every moment.
30 years, 7 months, 4 days, and an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah. She was my bride.
On August 8th, 15 days after she walked into Ascension St. Vincent Southside Hospital with COVID, he lost his wife. She was 53.
Michelle was just a gem of a person.
They shared their lives, had 4 children, traveled the world together as missionaries.
She just had the quality of that quiet, powerful force that she would make people feel heard. Asked her to marry the moment I met her.
But in the end, she died alone due to hospital protocol.
It was heartbreaking, you know. Your mom is in the hospital and you can't even see her. You can't even really talk to her or anything. Wednesday the 4th, we got a call. She had crashed. We drove to the hospital right away. They put us in protective gear, you know, the face shield, the mask. And we were allowed to be in there until they closed it off.
The day before Michelle passed away, Mitch was given 2 hours with her.
Worship music, praying for her, stroking her hair, telling her I love her.
He says he was the only one allowed in her room at that time.
Jaden said, "That's fine, Dad. I'll go downstairs. There's a little sitting area that I can see Mom's window."
His 17-year-old daughter, Jaden, waited outside the hospital for about an hour.
Then I looked up and there was construction workers. I told them the situation. I said, my mom is going to die. Is there any way that I can get to that window?
She says they gave her safety gear, led her to the roof, and allowed her to touch the window of her mother's hospital room.
And I hear a knock on the window. And I go up there and there's Jaden in a hard hat, a safety vest, rubber boots.
It was sad that I couldn't be there to hold her hand in that last day, those last hours. But at least being able to, you know, look in the window and see her and see my dad, I was very grateful to those construction workers.
Hours later, Michelle died with no family by her side.
My daughter wanted to be near her mom, wanted to be at that window, even if she couldn't come into the ICU, couldn't touch her for the last time. She wanted to be at that window and at least look in and be as close as she could to her mother in her final hours.
Good night, my love. I love you.
Michelle's husband and children don't want any other family to have to say goodbye that way.
My last words to my mom were through a FaceTime call. I hope that no child has to go through that.
Their story prompted Darlene Gira, who lives in St. Johns County, to start a Change.org petition to allow families access to COVID patients.
My hope in this petition is to reach our governor and to see we could start the conversation. If nothing more, just here in Jacksonville with our city officials, with hospital officials. You know, that human touch, that love from your family, nothing can replace that. And I just don't think that anyone should have to die alone.
For the Arbelize family, the separation only compounded their heartache and grief.
It's difficult to not be there when you realize, you know, the final heartbeat, the final breath, and she's gone. And to not be holding her hand during that, it's painful. And yeah, I think it does need a change. I think it could change.
Michelle was so loved. An Ascension St. Vincent citizen statement saying in part that we do everything possible to accommodate visitors within the parameters of our current policies and procedures, which are in place for everyone's safety, and did so in this case, with family members being permitted to visit multiple times over multiple days. It went on to say that we know how important and impactful it can be for a hospitalized patient to see loved ones, and we take this into account when making visitation adjustments. Now, they say that they just try right now to balance compassion with keeping everyone safe. And you can read the full statement and also find a link to that change.org petition in this story right now on firstcoastnews.com.